Today, we're diving into this incredible tradition from al-Kafi. It kicks off with something you just don't expect to hear from an imam, a confession. But it's this very confession that holds the key to, well, freeing your heart.
So picture this. A companion, Jabir, goes to see the fifth Imam, Abu Ja'far alayhi salam. You'd expect a normal greeting, right? But what he gets instead is, wow, it's personal, it's raw, and it's completely out of the blue.
Just imagine hearing that from your spiritual guide. I am grieved and my heart is preoccupied. It's such a human moment, isn't it? The Imam alayhi salam isn't trying to be some untouchable figure. He's being real, sharing this heavy weight, and it just makes you stop and think.
Seriously? What on earth could make a holy imam feel this way? Someone so connected to the divine. Well, it's not what you'd think. It's not about money or power or losing something. No, the real reason is so much deeper, and honestly, it flips our whole understanding of reality on its head.
And here's the kicker. The Imam alayhi salam explains that his heart is so full, completely filled with purity and sincerity for the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that it's preoccupied from everything else. So it's not a sadness about the world, it's a kind of spiritual weight that comes from being so tuned in to what's real that everything else, this world, just becomes like background noise.
To help us get our heads around this, the Imam alayhi salam then does something amazing. He takes this concept we live in every single day, the world, dunya, and he just completely redefines it for us.
See, he's not talking about the planet, the trees and mountains. He's defining the world as a state of mind. It's that feeling of being distracted, of being oblivious, of being caught in a fog that keeps you from seeing what actually matters.
He just starts breaking it down with these really simple but sharp questions. He's making us question the very things we chase after every single day, starting with the most basic stuff.
And he goes on, pointing out these fleeting things we build our lives around, our possessions, our relationships, our pleasures. He's basically saying, is this it? Is this all there is? This forces us to wonder, okay, if this isn't the real deal, what is?
So you've got these two completely different ways of being. On one hand, you have the people of the world who are just oblivious. They're blinded by the distractions, chasing all the shiny things. But then you have the believers, and their hearts are grieving, just like the Imams alayhi salam, because they see through the smoke and mirrors. They're not playing that game, they're trying to free themselves.
Okay, so this all leads up to the absolute heart of the lesson. Now that he's taken apart the illusion, Imam Abu Ja'far alayhi salam gives us some of the most mind-blowing metaphors to explain what this reality we're in actually is.
Let these sink in for a minute. The world is like a temporary lodge. You're just visiting, you're not moving in. It's like wealth you see in a dream. Feels amazing, right? But then you wake up and poof, it's gone. Nothing in your hands. And my favorite, a passing shadow. Think about that. A shadow has no substance. It's not real in itself. It's just a fleeting shape blocking the light.
I mean, the contrast here could not be more clear. This world is a house of annihilation, a place of decline. It's designed to fall apart. But the hereafter? That's the house of permanent abode, the house of peace. One is temporary and chaotic, the other is eternal and calm.
All right, so if we're living in a passing shadow and our hearts are all tied up in knots, what are we supposed to do about it? Well, the Imam alayhi salam doesn't leave us hanging. He gives a super clear, actionable plan to find real freedom. So, this is the command, the action plan. That little spark of faith you feel, that moment of clarity, that piece of wisdom, that is the realest thing you have. And your number one job is to protect it, to guard it from all the noise and distractions of the shadow world. But okay, how do you actually do that?
The tool he gives us is something called 𝗧𝗵𝗲. Now, this isn't about giving everything up and living in a cave. It's more about a shift in your heart, a change in focus. It's called the key to all goodness because it's literally what unlocks the door out of the illusion and into what's real. All right, so the Imam alayhi salam lays out a 4-step game plan. Step 1, you gotta free up your heart, make space for what lasts. Step 2, get smart about the world, see it for what it is, see the problems but also understand the solutions. 3, you have to cut the cord, that emotional attachment to all the distractions, snip. And finally, number 4, put all your hope, all your trust in the Creator, not in the shadows.
This leads to a really interesting paradox the Imam 𝗪𝗓𝗍 points out. You know how sometimes you chase something like your life depends on it, and then you get it, and you're miserable? And other times, something happens that you absolutely dreaded, and it turns out to be a huge blessing. That's because our judgment is skewed. We're basing our happiness on shadows.
So that leaves us with one last really big question to ask ourselves. If this world we're so invested in is just a passing shadow, what shadows are we chasing? What fleeting, empty things are taking up all the space in our hearts? Space that could be filled with something real, something that actually lasts. That's really the core of this whole teaching, isn't it?